Happy Monday, folks. Some of you might be watching this video in the future, but just wanted to let you know today for me is Monday, and it is in the morning. What time is it here? 7:13. So we are on our way to the office currently. I'm a little bit behind schedule today, but on my way down, I wanted to continue on my series of touring Chicago in the car. Today we're gonna go down Broadway Street. I'm gonna take you down the entire length of Broadway. We're gonna start at the very tippy top. Broadway ends, or starts in this case, at Devon and Broadway. It is the edge of Rogers Park and Edgewater where they meet. So right now we're currently in Rogers Park heading southbound. Right here we are at Albion, and on your right hand side you have the Hampton Inn, the newer hotel. By newer I mean like in the last 5 to 7 years that was put up specifically geared towards the Loyola community. So a lot of Loyola parents come here for graduations, etc., and they will stay here versus downtown just because the campus is right to our left. And as I've discussed before, if you've watched previous videos, you have a new lot on your left-hand side over here. They took down an old residential building and they're gonna be putting up something new. How exciting, how exciting. There we go, the Sheriff of Nottingham right there. Love to call the parking meter people the Sheriff of Nottingham because I think it's taxation without representation, but let's not get too deep in the weeds, right? You'll notice that the red light up here is flashing. This happens occasionally when you have inclement weather. The traffic lights go out. Usually what it means is it acts as a stop sign. So if you see those red lights flashing, it's acting as a stop sign. So you would just stop, wait for traffic to go in the right order, and then continue onward. There's your Loyola station right here, which is the red line. One of the last few stops before you get to the end of the red line at Howard. So back to Broadway. We're gonna take you down Broadway Street today. We're about 2 blocks north of the beginning of it or the end of it, whichever way you're gonna look at it. Broadway is one of the oldest streets in Chicago. It wasn't called Broadway about 100 years ago. Way back when it was referred to as Old Plank Road. I had done a deep dive going to the UIC microfilm center down in the University of Illinois College campus, and I was able to pull up old maps and found out that the Broadway was called Old Plank Road. And you might be wondering, well, why was it called Old Plank Road? Well, I'm gonna fix my thing there so it's not jiggling. It's called Old Plank Road because they used to saw up 2x8s, I believe they were, and then put them on their sides, and then stack them like bricks. And then those bricks would act as a road. Super cool. I did find actual real evidence of this in an alley. It's at Roscoe and Inner Lakeshore Drive, I believe. And there's an alley right behind one of the buildings, and I was looking and I saw that there were these old pieces of wood that made up the actual alley, which was super cool. So that kind of confirmed to me that Old Plank Road was really a thing. So here we go, we're crossing Devon, heading southbound on what is now Broadway. So this is Sheridan. Sheridan turns left right here and continues down the lakefront, but we're gonna start in Broadway, and this is Edgewater. Broadway is the commercial strip that kind of goes all the way down most of these neighborhoods. You'll notice lots of restaurants, lots of stores. I'll try to point a few of them out as I go along the way here. You'll notice that there are a lot of newer buildings on Broadway. For the longest time, when I moved here a long time ago, this was all pretty much like 1- and 2-story commercials, a couple 3 stories every now and then. But they're currently in the process of doing upzoning so that more residential properties can be fit onto Broadway. So particularly on your left is you just missed it there, but it's a mid-rise building, about, I think it's 8 or 10 stories. It's located at Granville and Broadway. It's a nice building. The back side of it does look over the train tracks, so you know, if that's something that you're sensitive to, you want to be careful and watch those things. And then the west side of it faces over Broadway, which we're going down right now. crossing over Granville. You'll notice these streets are changing a little bit. If you're from Chicago, a lot of these streets have turned into one-ways, and we're gonna get stuck behind a plow here. So just so you know, when snow is over 2 inches, there's a sign there. When snow is over 2 inches, there's no parking. And this is so that the plows can do what they're doing right now, which is basically clearing the parking spots and excessively salting, because the temperature has dropped quite a bit. We're about 24 degrees right now. If you did not shovel yesterday thinking that, oh, it's all gonna melt, you're in trouble, because overnight the temperatures dropped below 30 degrees, and as such, things started freezing. So a lot of the alleys, which were sloppy and slushy, etc., those have now frozen over, and it's kind of a pain in the rear to get through them, but I'm in a Jeep, so for me it's not too big of a deal, but I've noticed a lot of smaller cars having troubles getting stuck. Building on your right here, pretty cool. I think it's a pre-war building, or somewhere around the 30s. That one, yeah, that would be pre-war. That was a bank at one point. I think it's a library now, possibly. Can't remember. Oh, side note, you'll notice on your right-hand side here, Moody's Pub. They have great burgers. There's this awesome outdoor patio area to the south side of the building. Pretty cool. And on your left is called the Armory. I think it's the Edgewater Armory, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of sports go on there, so you'll have a lot of like volleyball. I'm gonna try to fix this noise because I hear the jiggle here. Sorry about that. Important to note, on the left over there's a new speed camera. So if you are caught speeding, it will just take a picture and send it to you in the mail. That way you don't have to bother being pulled over by a police officer if you're doing faster than 25 miles an hour during normal hours. And then during school days, when children are present, that's what they post on the signs, it's 20 miles an hour. I've actually gotten a ticket, not on this road, it's on Ashland, and it was the middle of a school day. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was doing like 25 through the Belmont and Ashland intersection, and I saw the light go off and I was confused. I'm like, okay, I don't see any children around. Ultimately, I tried disputing it, and the arbiter or whoever was overseeing, these disputes for the city made the case that he saw a head. So, like way up in the distance, he saw a head behind a car, and argued that, well, I didn't know that it wasn't a child. And my response back was, why would I think it's a child? Because children should be in school on a school day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Unfortunately, that argument did not fly. They gave me the ticket anyways, and I had to pay it. What are you gonna do? There's a cute little building up here you see on your left. The colors, yellow, blue. They're currently fixing the facade. We call it Skittles, 1122 Catalpa. It has a whole bunch of colors to it. That building has an interesting history. Before I talk about that, this intersection right here is Bryn Mawr. So on your left, you'll head towards the lakefront and Lakeshore Drive. It's like 3 blocks. If you go left and continue that way, you'll hit Lakeshore Drive. But they call it the Bryn Mawr District. A lot of like cool shops, restaurants. It's a nice little area. A lot of people are very attracted to it. Super close to the beach. If you keep walking down Bryn Mawr, you can go under Lakeshore Drive and you're less than a block from Hollywood Beach, which is it's a really nice beach. A lot of the LGBT community goes there during the summertime, so a big draw for a lot of that community. I love it myself. I go there all the time. It's one of my favorite beaches. All the beaches are really my favorite. Like, let's be realistic here. There's nothing quite like summer in Chicago. And the reason I'm starting these videos in the winter is probably because this is like the worst you're gonna see it, right? It's cold, it's usually brown and gray. You have slush and crap all over the place. We don't usually get this much snow accumulation. This is very rare in the 20 years that I've been here. Occasionally you'll have a snowstorm or two, but then it tends to melt pretty quickly. It's also rare to see it in December. We're at what, December 8th maybe? I can't remember the date. But it's usually pretty rare to have snow sticking on the ground this early in the season. But I love it. I absolutely love it. Coming from upstate New York, one thing I miss is the snow. church to your right. So we have a lot of amazing architecture. One of my favorite things to do is go look at the churches in Chicago, just because they have just such spectacular architecture. Okay, we're still continuing down Broadway. It's still in Edgewater, so Edgewater will end at Foster, which we're coming up to here in about 3 or 4 blocks. When we cross over Foster, we're gonna go into the neighborhood of Uptown. Cute little strip malls. The one you'll see Burlington Coat Factory up here, or now it's just Burlington. This strip mall has actually been redesigned. There was an O'Reilly's auto parts store there. I am super sad that it left because I really liked going to O'Reilly's. There was also like a GNC and a couple other little stores over here. But they have revamped the whole thing, put a new facade on it, and they're now putting new tenants in there. So you'll notice up here in Edgewater, it's a lot of strip malls, right? Over here to your right, you have the Endeavor Health Immediate Care Center, PetSmart. I used to go there all the time for my dog. There's your Chipotle, Men's Warehouse, CVS to your left here. And here is Foster. So Foster is the dividing line at 5200 North. We've talked a little bit in the past about the grid system in Chicago. So 5200 North means we are 52 blocks north of that downtown center where it's 0-0. So same thing that works with west. So if it was 5200 West, you'd be 52 blocks west of that center downtown space. So we're about 52 blocks north. That's a long walk. But again, 8 blocks to a mile approximately. So I think we're like 6-ish, 7-ish miles from downtown right now, something like that. If you were to take a right here on Foster and head west about 3 or 4 blocks, you would come to Clark and Foster, which would be the southern starting point of Andersonville, another sub-neighborhood. Well, I guess it's really a neighborhood. I can't remember if it's a sub-neighborhood or not, but I digress. On your left, you have a newer building that was just put up not too long ago. It's a flats building. Those things tend to have smaller units. The one on the right here is also a flats building. This used to be an office building. I live right behind it. There are these really cool homes looking over a park, and I remember when this was an office building, when they bought it, took it over, renovated the whole thing. Argyle Street, which we're crossing right now, to our left, they have dubbed it, what is it, Asia on Argyle, I think is what they call it these days. So you'll notice we're stopping for pedestrians. In Illinois, it's the law that you need to stop for pedestrians. In Chicago, pedestrians pretty much have the right of way. Don't hit a pedestrian. You don't want to do it. Doesn't matter if you're in the right or not. Yeah, just don't do it. Just don't do it. So we are coming up on one of my favorite buildings, and there's actually a talk today that I'm going to go see about the Uptown Theater. If you look to your right, you'll see a little hump, a brick up there. This is the Uptown Theater, an old pre-war theater, one of the first and largest in the country. I believe it's one of the first to have air conditioning in it, which is super cool. You don't get many chances to go inside of it. It's been shuttered my entire time I've been in Chicago. Here it is to your right. You can see some of the architecture. Looks pretty cool. We have tried so many times to revamp and renovate, and we had funds dedicated by the state for a while. Those seem to have went away. Who knows what's going on with that. All right, here we go. We're crossing Lawrence, 4800 North. So what is that? 48 blocks north of downtown Circle. You have the Riviera Theater here, and then to our left, which you can't see, is the Aragon Ballroom. It's down Lawrence a little bit. One of my favorite venues in Uptown. It's just such an amazing interior. I tend to go there for casino nights, which is put on by the Uptown Chamber of Commerce. We are getting ready to go underneath the new Wilson Red Line. So these are the new tracks, okay? So they've raised these tracks up so trucks no longer have difficulty getting underneath them. And then you have a whole new rebuilt Wilson Red Line stop. It's important to say that the Red Line has been going through a modernization phase. Also important to note, this building on your left is a brand new apartment building. I think it's only a couple years old. The Red Line Modernization Project is basically ripping down all the old tracks and putting up all new concrete ones. These are a lot quieter and they're taller, which will allow for semi trucks to go underneath them. We seem to have a problem in Chicago where trucks, normal standard size semi tractor trailers that you see going down the expressways, they don't fit under the red line. So it makes getting from the western side of the city over to the lakefront incredibly difficult. Also because semi-tractor trailers and larger trucks are not allowed on Lakeshore Drive. So if you're moving into a single family home, which is pretty uncommon here, I mean, you'd have to be in like the $1 million+ range to have a single family home where you're gonna haul that much furniture in. There's specific ways you would have had to come. Specifically, Irving Park is one of the underpasses that was allowing you to go under the red line without, you know, opening your top of your truck like a tuna fish can. This building on your right is, I can't remember the name of it, something Yards, Uptown Yards, can't remember. But there was a big fight over this. They ended up building this new facility here. I think it is income-based housing or senior housing on top of it, but the whole bottom, they kept the original facade. You'll see some of the original terracotta, or, you know, the brickwork that you're looking at right now is designed to look like the terracotta, but on the corner of the building by that P and the C bank there, they have some of the original terracotta from the original single-story building that was there. That, you know, for a long time, Uptown did not want to, quote, gentrify, so the aldermans at the time were not allowing new construction to come in. Since we've had a new alderman here, after James Kappelman left, Alderman Schiller was the one before that, and she was very anti-new construction for the most part, unless it was lower income housing. James Kappelman took a balanced approach to the whole thing, and then we have a new alderman now who is very progressive with new construction, and you're seeing a lot of apartment buildings going up around here, which is good. Ultimately, we need the housing in this city. There's a massive shortage of housing, and, you know, across the board, from every demographic to every income point, there's a shortage of housing that we need. One of my favorite buildings to our right here on the southwest corner, this yellow one here, is 4350 Broadway. I love this building. I lived there for, 2 years in one unit, a couple years in the other unit, and now my client owns them and he is renting them out, makes good money on those things. But I love the building, great rooftop deck. We're only, so you're gonna notice there's the cars going to the right. That is your Sheridan Road. We've talked a little bit about Sheridan before, but Sheridan will go all the way downtown. Well, it's a river north for the most part. But Sheridan is about, 4 blocks south to Wrigley Field. So I remember when the Cubs won their championship or whatever, I was at home here and I was watching it on TV, just because that's what you do when you're in the north side of Chicago. You have to watch the Cubs. So I was watching the Cubs, they won, and I decided that I wanted to be part of that history, and I walked down and it was super cool. The streets were filled with people cheering and, you know, doing debaucherous things, but it was super cool. Super cool. So we're, again, continuing down Broadway. We just crossed over Montrose. We are still technically in Uptown. However, Montrose down to Irving Park, these next 6 blocks-ish, this square of space is called Buena Park, a sub-neighborhood. I've talked a little bit about Buena Park before. It's one of my favorite sub-neighborhoods. You have a great mix of high-rise, mid-rise, low-rise, and single-family homes, specifically historic ones. So one day we'll go through Buena Park and I'll show you all the different single-family homes that are here that are just really cool. Some of them 100+ years old, which I really love. And in Buena Park, we're gonna cross over Buena Avenue right now. So Buena Ave goes east to west right here. I had a friend who lived in these apartment buildings at one point, Times Square. Angela, if you're watching, hello. Nice to see you. Hope you're enjoying Michigan. Oh, I should mention, on your left here at Belle Plaine, 4100 North and Broadway, is Michael's Original Tavern. It's a pizza place, and oh my God, do they have amazing pizza. I absolutely love it. If you ever have a chance, you should stop there. It's delicious. To your right here, you have Thorac Hospital. Thorac has been absorbing a lot of buildings around here. What they're gonna do with them, not exactly sure, but occasionally they'll buy buildings up, and I would imagine imagine at some point they're probably going to try to build an addition onto their hospital. Here we are, Irving Park. Irving Park is the dividing line between Uptown and Lakeview. So as we cross over Irving Park here, we're gonna head into Lakeview. The tall building on your left is called the New York Building, 3660 Lakeshore Drive. In front of that is a big vacant lot, which everyone's hoping to have a giant high-rise built there, but that's taking another 20 years to do. Lots of discussion over whether that should happen or not, but hopefully that'll happen in my lifetime. Windy City Euros, this guy's been here forever. You know, great food for after hours, etc., etc. On your left, you have the apartment building called the Viridian. This particular one, the all glass one, is a prefab. So it came in on pieces on truck, and they assembled it all together. Whereas the next one, the red brick one on your left here, it's called the Eagles Building. I can't remember the official name to it, but that one's owned by a guy named Dave Gassman. I love that apartment building. It has geothermal heating, amazing layouts, lots of balconies. It's just such a cool building. I wish he would have condoed it out, but he did not. So we are getting ready to split the road here. If we were to continue directly south, this is now, it becomes Halstead. Halstead is a strip that will go from this point all the way south, all the way through the south side. So one day we'll take Halstead Street all the way down to give you an idea what that looks like. You have a newer apartment building on the right over here. But for Broadway, it veers to the left now. So on the left, you can't see it, but it's called Anshe Emmett. It's a school, fairly desirable. I think it's private. And you got the IHOP over here on your right. That thing's been here forever. I'm actually surprised that thing hasn't been knocked down in favor of a larger building, but probably will happen eventually here. Also important to note, because we're at Broadway and Grace. Grace is going side to side from east to west. If you turn right here, I have a couple clients who live down here, one at 828 Grace and one right across the street. We just bought the one across the street. Beautiful, beautiful condo. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, duplex up, full rooftop deck. I mean, you get amazing views of the skyline. You get peekaboo views of Wrigley Field and a couple peekaboo views of the lakefront, which is super cool. 828 Grace is a high-rise red brick, another one of my favorite buildings over here. You get amazing views of downtown Wrigley Field, especially if you're on the south side of the building. The north side of the building, not so much, but it's still decent views. All right, so veering left, technically heading into what they call Lakeview East. So it's still part of Lakeview, just a sub-neighborhood, Lakeview East. On your left, this blue sign up here is called Quads. Quads Gym is where all the muscle guys go. They're really well known for their bodybuilders and bodybuilding, which is super cool. And then you just have a lot of commercial stuff. On this northern side of Lakeview East, we tend to have a lot more commercial properties. You know, you saw your 7-Eleven, your Walgreens, you got Planet Fitness. But as we cross over Addison, which is this next red light coming up, we tend to see a lot more mom and pop businesses, which is really nice. I enjoy the smaller local owners versus the corporations. But, you know, there's a good mix in this particular neighborhood. Addison, which is 3600 North, if you were to turn right here, we are about 3 blocks away from the Red Line and about 4 blocks away from Wrigley Field. Everyone knows Wrigley Field, home of the Cubs. I think it's the Ricketts who bought that, and they've been buying up all the buildings around it. We'll do a tour of that one day to see all that for you. Ooh, another apartment building on our right-hand side here. This guy's brand new, super high-end. I think it's called the Optima. Yeah, Optima Lakeview. The rents in there are pretty astronomically high, but they're gorgeous, gorgeous units. Large. It's a big property. It heads back pretty far. This used to be a Trader. What was it, Trader Joe's? No. Treasure Island is what it used to be. Oh, Best Western Plus right here. A lot of people who like to stay on the north side, specifically in Boys Town, will get the Best Western Hotel here just because it's close proximity to all the restaurants and bars. My office is right here on the left-hand side, Roscoe and Broadway. Roscoe is 3400 North, and that is what, 34 blocks north of that downtown center. And you can see all these little shops here, right? Single story commercial properties. Cram on your left hand side, men's clothing boutique, really nice. You have Wang's, which is a bar on your left. Ping Pong on your right, which is one of my favorite restaurants. I cannot stress enough that you should go there and try that. You will not be disappointed. Also on your right here that you see this red brick building is a school, one of the more popular schools that buyers are looking for. It's called Nettelhorst. So usually, you know, if you have children, you're always looking for school districts, and you know, I don't rank them, usually parents do, and that's one I see come up on their list quite a bit. This restaurant on your left here called Eggsperience with the green awning. This used to be Melrose Diner. Oh God, when I first moved to Chicago, I would spend it was like my kitchen. I had an apartment across the street 20 years ago, and I would spend days over there, you know, working in there, reading, just eating, drinking. It was like my kitchen, right? I would go there for everything. So here we are at Belmont. Belmont is a major artery going east and west. It is 3200 north. You should remember that number. 32 is what? 32 blocks north of downtown. If you turn left, you'll go to the lakefront in about 3 or 4 blocks. If you go right, you'll have the red line about 3 or 4 blocks that way. This is one of my favorite strips of East Lakeview. I lived down here for a while. It's just so many mom and pop shops and restaurants and bars and hairstylists. It's just so much fun down here. I really miss this area so much. And one day I probably will move back here just because I love it that much here. The restaurant Wild, W-I-L-D-E on your right. And right here where this white building is, that used to be a Thai restaurant that I really liked. The Mariano's on your right, that building is new. So that used to be a Dominic's grocery store. I used to live across the street on the left-hand side, this Victorian-looking property. I used to live there, and I remember when the Dominic's burnt down. I was up on the roof and I watched the whole thing happen. It was wild, it was crazy, and that Mariano's was on a vacant lot for the longest time. Nobody wanted to have anything built there, but eventually they got what their wishes were. You can't see it, but right to my right-hand side here, I just passed where I get my hair done. It's called Shy Salon and Spa. My hairstylist, Joanna, she is amazing. If you ever need a hairstylist in the area, I love her. I've been going to her for decades, and yeah, she's great. So just reach out and let me know you want a hairstylist. I'll get you her contact information. And you can see there's still a continuation of all these little mom and pop shops. Nancy's, home of the original stuffed pizza, that has been there since I moved here. I used to go there a lot as well for their stuffed pizza, which I really loved. And then on this corner here, La Petite Marcel, that used to be called Oakdale Tavern. Oh God, they had amazing chicken wings. One thing I noticed when I moved to Chicago was a lot of the chicken wings were baked, and they were one of the few places that I was able to find that had them deep fried, so I absolutely loved it. Straight ahead of us, the yellow building that you see, the tall one there, God, what a gorgeous building. I sold a condo in there, and it is just amazing. It's called the Greenbrier. It has just such amazing original woodwork. It's pre-war, huge lobbies, good size apartments, separate kitchens, original woodwork. It's really, really spectacular. I love that building. It was one of my favorite sales that I did. And we are now at another intersection, Diversey, Clark, and Broadway. So this is pretty much where Broadway ends. So let's see here. Straight ahead of us, we're gonna head what you would think would be Broadway. It's gonna turn into Clark Street. You'll notice the bus, where that bus is going right now, that's Clark Street. So Clark kind of veers off to the left there, or the right from our perspective. And then if you go where this other bus was, it's Broadway Street. So that's about it. That was a trip down Broadway. It's one of my favorite strips in the city. As you can see, highly commercial. They're building a lot of new apartment buildings there. I tend to spend most of my time on the Broadway strip or the Clark strip. So if you were to take Clark Street up, it would eventually take you through Lakeview, all the way up right directly past Wrigley Field, and then you would continue upward north through Andersonville. We will go up there one time because Andersonville is a highly desirable neighborhood, and specifically highly desirable commercial strip. Amazing mom and pop shops, mom and pop restaurants, bars that people tend to love. So it's one of the other places in the city that I spend a lot of my time, is that Andersonville strip. Well, folks, I'm gonna turn it off for here for now and head to the office. Hopefully you enjoyed this little tour de Broadway and come back to see more from us.